Noxus Mordekaiser has been one of the best forecast carry comps, and in this video, I'll teach you how to master this comp by going over everything you need to know about it. The build is almost set in stone, as we have 6 core units for the comp, where Mordekaiser is our main carry, Swain and Sion are our main tanks, Aatrox is our secondary carry, while Darius and Katarina are mostly synergy bots. The most common level 8 version is to add in Samira and Cassiopeia for 7 Noxus. This gives our team a ton more of all the stats, which helps both our tanks become tankier and helps Mordekaiser deal more damage. The other version is to add in higher value units like Jarvan and Heimerdinger. This gives us less power with the Noxus trait, but gives us a ton more value from Jarvan's CC and Heimer's utility. We'll get into other versions, especially if we get some specific augments or emblems later in the video. Mordekaiser is our main carry, so we prioritize making items for him first. He has one core item, and that is RFC. This is because all of his damage comes from auto attacks, especially empowered ones with a spell. Additionally, it increases his range, which means he'll spend less time walking up to enemy champions. The second and third item we build depend on a couple of factors. If we have Twisted Fate as our legend, we want the second and third item to be RFC. This will increase Mordekaiser's range drastically, making him a backline champion. Although it sounds a bit strange, triple RFC makes him almost never waste his ultimate, it makes him deal more damage as RFC scales with each other, and it also gives him higher attack speed, which is what we need more of to get more damage with Mordekaiser. If you are not picking Twisted Fate, then Mordekaiser's second and third items want to be QSS, Gnasher's Tooth, Giant Slayer, Hodge, or another RFC or Rageblade. The next champion to itemize will be either Swain or Sion, but most of the time you will itemize Swain, since you often find him from the start of the game. The only item you 100% of the time need on him is Ionic Spark. This item shreds MR, resulting in Mordekaiser dealing more damage with a spell. The second and third items want to be tank items like Sunfire, Redemption, Bramble, Stoneplate, Protector's Vow, and Dragon's Claw. Towards the end of the game, you want to itemize Aatrox. He wants 1 healing item and 2 damage items. The best healing item by far is BT, and the best damage items are Titans, Styrax, IE, Giant Slayer, Night Harvester, Edge to Night, and QSS. If you get a spatula, you always want to make Noxus Spat. This is a fantastic emblem to put on Aatrox as one of his damage items. This allows us to easily play 7 Noxus, as we can drop one of Cassiopeia and Samira. There are no other great options besides Noxus Spat, so we always try to go for that one. With this comp, we really want specific itemization on Mordekaiser, therefore Twisted Fate is the best legend to pick for this comp, since the Pandora's Items augment allows us to get triple RFC pretty consistently. Another legend that also works is Earth. This allows us to have easy access to a Noxus emblem through Tome of Traits. The best portals for this comp are Bandle Cafeteria, Hearth Home, Yumi's Zoom Zone, Hole of the Nine, the Dreaming Pool, and Placidium Library. And the best augments for this comp are Noxus Crest or Crowned, Total Domination, You Have My Bow, Healing Orbs, Library Card, Dedication, Pandora's Items, Ancient Archives, Harm Assist, Blinding Speed, Red Buff, and Contagion. I mentioned a lot of augments there, and the best ones out of those are Noxus Crest, Total Domination, You Have My Bow, Healing Orbs, Dedication, and Pandora's Items. If all that info was a lot to take in, then check out the cheat sheet for this comp. It's available for patrons and YouTube members. Here is the Sorcerer Lux cheat sheet from last set, so you know what to expect for the Noxus Mordekaiser cheat sheet that is available right now. The best early game boards for this comp is to have either Cassiopeia or Samira as the early game carry with a 3 Noxus opener. This is so we can start stacking the trait early. Most of the time, we won't be super strong in the mid game since we want to push level 7 and 8, so we really want to try to win as much as possible in the early game to achieve this. And once we have found our comp, we need to make items. But since we need a ton of bows for this comp, you will not slam any items that use a bow that is not RFC. You can slam tank items if you want to, or damage items that will go on Aatrox late game. If you picked Pandora's Items, you will only build RFC, Spark, or Sunfire in the early game, and if you can't build those, then just cycle the components until you can. From here, we want to win streak and push levels if possible, so we can safely reach level 8, and if you want to learn more about how to play the early game, then check out my guide where I go in depth on that subject. After the Krugs round, you should have more direction towards a comp. The general requirements to play Mordekaiser is to have at least 1 RFC already made, as well as having some stacks on Noxus. If you don't have any stacks, you will likely have to roll in the mid game to get them. And if you have to roll, then do it at level 6 on stage 3-2. Ideally look for this board, but you don't have to hit 5 Noxus to stabilize with it. If you want to wait until level 7 before you roll instead, then look to stabilize off Mordekaiser 1-star with some variation of this board. You will look to go level 7 on either stage 3, 5, or 4, 1, which you choose depends on how much HP and gold you have. And remember that you don't have to find the exact board on screen, you still have a lot of options, but generally you will always need Mordekaiser 1-star as well as 5 Noxus. Once you get to stage 4-1, the late game begins. Here you need to assess the situation to check if you can go for a fast 8, or if you have to roll at level 7. This board gets a large power spike at level 8, since we get space for 7 Noxus, and we are able to hit Aatrox, so we prefer to go straight to level 8 whenever we can. When rolling at level 7, it's very similar to rolling on stage 3-5. You want to end up with some variation of this board, but again, we can look for a lot of different level 7 variations. Although some variations are preferred, the ideal scenario is to hit one of them and then save the remaining gold to go level 8. Once you get to level 8, your final board will be either 7 Noxus or 5 Noxus. If you have all the Noxus stacks, then you almost always want to play 7 Noxus, unless you have enough gold to 2-star the Jarvan and Heimer you're adding in. Also note that Heimer is very expensive, as you need the upgrades on him to get the full value. In terms of augments and emblems, if we get +1 Noxus, we always end up with 7 Noxus, as all our carries and tanks benefit from the trait. Besides that one, there aren't any other emblems that will affect our board. If we get stuff like +1 Strategist, Shurima, or Bruiser, we will just play the same board and get the small benefit from the extra trait. General positioning with this comp looks like this. Here we have Mordekaiser in the backline, as he will have at least 1 or 2 RFCs equipped. Cassiopeia and Samira are on the other side of the backline to bait out CC from enemies like Jarvan and Sion. Aatrox is on the outskirts to die relatively fast, allowing him to cycle into a champion and pop out again for a second life. Sion is on the other side to threaten the enemy champions, clumped in the corners. And the rest of our frontline can be placed wherever, but if we have Ionic Spark on Swain, then we want him close to Mordekaiser, so that Mordekaiser's targets are getting shredded with Spark. Now moving on to some in-depth examples. Against the first guy, the big threat is Kayle and Fiora. Sion is jumping the Kayle, Aatrox is attacking the Fiora, and we are dodging the Jarvan ult by baiting it towards the left side with Cassiopeia and Samira. Against the second guy, the big threat is Nilah and GP. We have Aatrox attack the Nilah, and Sion is going to be dashing to the MF, and he will hopefully also CC the Nilah on the way there. The rest of our team is spread out as much as possible to reduce AoE damage from Bilgewater and GP's ultimate. Against the third guy, the big threat is Kai'Sa and Bel'Veth. Aatrox and Mordekaiser are on the same side as Fiora to hopefully take her down right away. Sion will be dashing down to the Vel'Koz, or onto Kai'Sa if we get lucky with her dash. The rest of our team is a little spread out to avoid taking much splash damage from the Baron. You can also check out this guide in a written format over on Tactor, and if you want to see more of my written guides over there, then check out my profile to see more of the other content I've created on that platform. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you want cheat sheets for any of my comp guides, they're available for you to members and patrons, and the links to join those are down in the description. And if you want to get better at TFT, join the Discord. We got over 9,000 other players there who are hungry to climb. And if you want to get coached by me, the information is over on the Discord server as well. So take care and see you in the next video.